This will be video number 6 on the 6-cycle oddball, and what we're going to do today is make the cylinder head, and this has quite a few features in it, so this is probably about all we can do in this one video. I'm going to make it out of this one piece, and I only have one piece, so if I screw this up, we're going to have to wait till next week. So we'll get started on it, and the first feature I'm going to do, well, you can see that I have already drilled the holes in it. And the reason I did this is I had to make a jig or a fixture to hold it on. And this is the fixture. So I had to drill the holes. And the holes are the first thing you have to do anyway. Because if you don't do the holes first, you put the fins in here and try to drill the holes, you're going to have a problem. You could do the holes from the back, but then when you go to make the relief for the head of the screw, the counterbore, the fins are going to throw your cutter off. So you got to do those first. And this is just a slug that's exactly the size. And I've turned it down to be faced on both sides. And the first feature I'm going to do is the combustion chamber on this side. So I'm going to put this in the chuck, and in order to have it protrude enough, I'm going to put this ring behind it. This has been faced accurately so it holds it nice and flat. Okay, now we got the hole roughed out. The next thing we have to do is open it up to the tap size. And this is a metric tap for that NKG spark plug. And it's a metric size. So, believe it or not, the drill size is written right on the tap. It's 23/64. So we're going to open that up to 23/64. And that will be the spark plug hole. Okay, that's 750, so we're getting close. So we got 22 more to go, so I'm going to go 5. That's just about 800, one under. So we'll go 4 this time. Okay, now we've got 5 to go. I'm going to revert to the compound here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 8. Yeah, that's 8, 11, 8, 12. So now what I've got to do is I'm going to make a little tiny recess for this. And it's only, this is only 845, so that's, let's see, 10, 20, 30, about 33 thousandths more. So I'm going to come out 10, that should give me 20. And I got to reset my tool. Because the depth is only, what I'm doing is measuring the depth of that ring, and it's 35 thousandths. So I'm measuring this depth here. So I'm going to set the stop, so I only going in 35 thousandths. Zero it out. 35 and go a hair over, lock that. So I went about 2 over, so I'll give this a little clearance. Well, actually, I wouldn't have to do that because I'm going to put a gasket on here, so that would raise it up. It's about 25. So we're going to go Let's try 5 here. Not quite yet. Looks like about another 5. It's very hard to measure. This is so small. Still not quite in there. That just fits. Exactly right. I'm going to take a little spring cut on that just to open it up so it goes in there a little easier. That should fall right in there. That's perfect. And there's no play. Step is to take this out and turn it around, and I got to do a recess for the spark plug on this side with the same boring bar. Got to tap it in. I have to get out the spark plug and measure the recess. 5/8 diameter is showing that recess. It looks like the depth for the fin, but that's the depth for this recess. So it's 3/16 deep. That's 3/16. Lock the stop. Now we got to make the recess for the spark plug. It's 540. I got to go to 625. So if I go another 45, so I'm going to go 10. Another 15 to go. 5. That tool has quite a bit of spring in it. You see it cut over 10 there. I'm almost to dimension. So I'm only going to go 2 with this. That'll give me my 5/8. Now I want a nice flat bottom on that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this in 2/1000 and come up against it, and then I'm going to crank that in to make sure I flatten off the bottom. That should give me a nice flat bottom. That's for the gasket of the spark plug to hit against. So let's see how the dimensions were. That looks pretty good. And the nut part is going to be outside the head, so you don't have to give a recess for the wrench. That's going to be good. So next thing we'll do is tap that hole. Lock that. A little cutting oil on it. Lock the spindle. So run that in nice and deep. That's through there now. But now let's check the spark plug. Should screw right in there. It hits the gasket long before it gets in too deep, so that's good. Okay, now the next features on this are the fins. And I'm going to do the face fins first, and last I'm going to do these, because if I screw this up on and break the tool, I want to have the video basically finished. As I said before, I made a fixture for this, and you notice it has a flat on it. This feature here is just what was on the metal that I used. It should be just this piece. Okay, and I've got a match mark on this. So I put the 2 match marks so I get the bolts back in the exact same holes. Those bolts go in quite a bit because I wanted it to be pretty solid. I think I'm in about 10 threads there, which is... I'm going to leave a little bit at the bottom, about a 1/16, and then I'm going to make a cut, and then I'm going to move over 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, get the whole thing finished. Now, like I said before, I put a flat on here. And the reason I put that flat on is so that I can put this in the vise with that on the bottom of the vise, and I know that's exactly lined up with these holes. So I'm coming down to the bottom by eye, and I can feel it. And now I'm going to raise it up a 62,000. These fins is 171, so I'm going to try to cut that all at once. I'm going to check the speed for this, so I've got the right speed. Gonna set that up. So the chart says for 1 inch is 750, so I would go probably half of that. There's the first one. Got through there all right. It was a little slow, but I'm gonna set the stop this time, so they'll all be the same depth. Now I'm gonna crank this up 125, and that'll be my second cut. I'll run it up to the stop. Lock the table. As you can see, that's lining up pretty good with the holes because of the jig that I made, the fixture. You'll notice this galled up part on the top. My spindle was actually hitting on the first cut because I didn't quite protrude the tool quite enough. But that won't matter because that gets cut out of there anyway. Another thing you might notice, this last number is 10/1000ths of an inch. And I just sort of ignore that. It will change a little bit as you start to cut. And even if I set that perfectly on 125, see it went 2 over, I just ignore that. So if you look at the plan, you will see that this part is missing. They just cut right straight across there and made this fit. I'm going to fit this in there nice and tight like I did on this one. As you can see, it looks better with the fins there. So I'm going to measure this width, and that's the width I'm going to cut that slot in the center of the head. Okay. They show the depth from the center with this dimension here, 5/8. So you want to move up 5/8 from the center, and that would be the bottom of this pocket. And the pocket has to be 843 wide. So I'm going to take a 3/8 end mill, and I'm going to run through that. So it's actually 3/8 from here. So I'm going to touch off there and you get my 3/8 dimension. So now I'm going to bring that down 3/8 of an inch, but I'm going to do it in steps. So I'm going to mark this off. Most people don't have a DRO. So this isn't real critical. The pocket, you're going to make a part that fits in there. 21.5, I mean, yeah, 21.5. So there's the top. And then I want to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 22 and 21.5. So if I make a line there, that should be that width of 812. Okay, I'm going to put this in there. I've got my 2 marks, and I checked the marks, and they're the right width apart. And I'm using the same flat that I had before. I'm going to stay between those 2 lines, and I'm going to go back there, and I'm going to actually cut into the fixture a little bit. I'm going to go a little deeper to get to that line. I'm just going to cut right straight down through there for 3/8 of an inch. There's 140. I have to go half the width of the cutter into this, or I won't get it all the way through. This is the final cut. That's 375 deep. Now I'm going to move over to the other line and cut 375 deep. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down 1/1000th over and clean that bottom up because there's going to be a gasket goes on there. That should do it. The next thing there is this a hole in that. There it is, it's a 1/4 inch in and a 1/4 inch down. That's pretty good. That's pretty easy to figure out. We have to take this off to mark it. So what I'm going to do is before I put that hole in through this way, I'm going to put those fins in because that's the last feature is the hole. So now I've got to line it up here. According to the print, the first fin is in 241, so I'm going to move into 241. And then I'm going to go the 109,000, 110,000 basically. So I got to start here, 110. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fins. The dimensions that they put 109 between fins is what I'm going to use. Actually, I'm going to go 110 just to make it easier, but I'll see how it comes out. So the fins are a 1/4 inch deep, which is pretty deep for a 16th inch cutter. But so as you can see, that tool jammed. I may have had too much protruding from the tool holder, so I've moved the tool back. The tool height is proper. I move it back so it's only protruding just enough to cut a 1/4 inch deep. I'm going to try this again. Zero the cutter. Fortunately, it didn't destroy the part. Well, there's one. So I'm going to zero this. I'm going to go 110. You hear the little thumping noise, that's that gap that I put in there. And I think that actually helps because it gives the tool a chance to clear itself. And one more to go. And they got 5 fins. I went 110 between them. This one looks wider, I don't know why, but that's the one where the tool snapped and broke off. That looks pretty good. Now the next feature on this is a 45-degree angle across the corner of the head here. This is just for looks. So because it's for looks, I'm just going to look at it and say that's good. We're going to hit that with the file. Take the sharp edges off. There was that hole in there. And for that, I have to remove it. So it shows that 1/4 inch hole centered this way and a 1/4 inch in that way. So I'm going to mark the 1/4 inch, 250, and then I'm going to hold it up here. And I'm going to set this for 1 inch. That should be the center. So this hole isn't real fussy. I can do this on the drill press. Spotting drill. There's 3/16. Now I'll run a 1/4 inch through there. So I'm not going to put the 2 mounting holes on there. I will do that by transferring from the part when I make it. The next thing we're going to do is put this on the cylinder and do the threaded holes to hold it on. So what we have to do is we have to make sure that this is square to that. To get that straight, I've got a 16th inch slots here. So I'm going to put one of these in the fins, which are lined up properly, hopefully. So once that's square, I can mark the cylinder right here. So I'm going to put this on here, because it just fits perfect, and run this down to here. That's square there, this is square. And if I square this up, I square that up, I can draw a line on the cylinder. That's it. I'm just lining that up with the line. I'm going to put a prick punch mark there. Not everybody has a set of these punches. So what sometimes they have to do is you take a drill and grind a point on the back end of it, which won't hurt it. You can still use it as a drill. Put the drill in there, and then with a brass hammer, tap it. You see, I just ground a point on that, and I'm going to use that for the prick punch. I'm just lining that up with the line that I drew where it's square, and that's the clearance drill. But there is a prick punch mark there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a real prick punch. Okay, now I can get the spotting drill in there and start the hole. So those are a 440 bolt, so I got to get a drill for a 440 thread, and that's a number 44 drill. 44. That gives you a 70% thread. Okay, there's the first screw in. Now I can mark the other three holes and drill them and tap them. I'm going to use the same drill. Okay, there's all of them marked. Now I can spot drill them all, drill them and tap them. Okay, that's the last hole. this is just for the picture for number 6 video. I'm going to screw it back together, make it look like an engine. That's the end of number 6 video. And next week, we're going to make this little valve block here. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe to my channel and give us a thumbs up. That's very important. Thank you very much for watching.